Welcome back to another episode of The Ordinary Experience. Thank you for joining me. This week has no guest on it. I have decided to start a series to continue on from where the podcast originally started, me expressing my thoughts and feelings, and I'm going to title it Real Talk with V and kind of dive into what I've been feeling because I feel this is an outlet that I can do it on. And the rawness is part of the beauty of it. So, what's new in my life? I started a job. I'm on a contract that lasts 5 months, and it's probably it's my first real job. It's not a job that I particularly am excited about, and I wake up in the morning bounding out of bed like I write in my articles, or I talk about in my YouTube. But yeah, I think to start off, I'm going to talk about that, and so I wanted to sort of discuss what it's like to get up in the morning, start work, and just realize that this job wasn't for me. It wasn't for me at all. I just the vibe of the place was everything that I wasn't, and everything that I didn't want to be. Like, one of my biggest fears is working a or not fulfilling my potential, not fulfilling what I could become if I have the opportunity or I give myself the opportunity to. And I walked in Monday morning into this job and I walked away from it thinking I have made probably another one of the biggest mistakes of my life because it didn't feel right. And here we are on Friday, and what have I learned in the week? Monday was dull, Tuesday was dull, Wednesday was dull. Met some interesting people towards the back end of the week, but I I really just it doesn't excite me. It doesn't wake me up in the morning, and because of that, have to find other ways of willing myself to do it. And the way I see it at this point in time is I have to use this. I have to get this job. I have to do this job. Why? Because I want to invest in the equipment and I want to invest in myself to produce better content, to create better, to document better. Because I particularly want to go for a high production value set in the future. That's just my choice. But I have to go through this because it's something that has to be done. It's something that is part of my longer term plan. And I have to go through a little bit of shit, go through a little bit of meh, and find the silver linings in it all. Yeah, I struggle. I do struggle. The job itself is fine. The job itself is easy. It's very much admin work. There's a little manual labor involved, but I feel that when I'm focusing on that, I'm not focusing on me fulfilling my potential. And so what I've come to terms with is, or not fulfilling my potential, me not fulfilling my job as a creator, because I don't see the two in one is my main job, one is my side hustle. I like to talk about them as running in parallel because I feel that if you give it the weight of a side hustle, you mentally think that it's less. So I have given myself the silver linings of I can use the lack of time to refine my processes, to refine the way I work, and refine my workflow in essence. Find a way to be creative in short periods of time. That way, when I've got it on tap, when I've got it on automatic, when I stop working a full time job, a 9 to 5 job, and I start doing potentially in the future the creator, no, not potentially, the creator role full time, I'll be able to manage myself better because thinking back now, I used to spend way too long sort of rinsing out all of this work. So I'd have 24 hours in a day or 16 hours in a day where I would be working on YouTube articles, podcast editing, but I'd stretch it out. And now I'm forced to do it in the hour I've got in the evening when I get home from work after I've cooked myself dinner. It's really difficult, this 9 to 5 creator role, this world that I've thrown myself into. And I think on the Thursday when I got back and I was shattered and I decided, no, you're gonna continue doing what you promised yourself because this is part of the process. And I don't know if it's my willpower, I don't know if it's my motivation, I don't know if they're the same thing, but I think they both worked in tandem on Monday evening, sorry, where I had to do it. And this is a business at the end of the day. Sure, it's fun and I enjoy the hell out of it, but at some point, it's going to be my living. It's going to be how I earn my living. So you've got to take that seriously. You've got to take it not lightly, but you've got to pay it the respect that it deserves. For in anything, you rack up the 10,000 hours of working at it and working at it. That's all I'm trying to do here. I will edit this podcast tomorrow, and it will go out the same day. Why? Well, because I was video editing the rest of the week, and I still haven't refined that process. So I think what I'm trying to say here is that, there are silver linings in things. There are, however dull it might look, however horrible and, you know, down you might feel, it's okay to feel like that. I hadn't felt it in a while. And so when it hit me, I was like, ah, Jesus, that sucks. It really sucks. But as I said, I met some interesting people. There is a young woman that working on a job that is quite a bubbly character, and she makes it a joy to work in the office. And there's another one that I met who is wanting to dive into music, and so I want to help her on her creator journey. And I mean that's why I set up the creator chats that I'm on, and why I love bringing people together, and I love bringing people on the podcast to hear their experiences. So if I can help one person, which is sort of why my journey in India started, why wouldn't I help this one? Why wouldn't I not show her the way, but why wouldn't I learn with her and help us both grow? Because you know what, when you do that, it's so much more powerful than just focusing on yourself. You build a community of people, you build friendships, you build relationships, you build partners, whatever it might be. And I think I might enjoy socializing with those people, but I am doing my best to work on all my editing stuff in the meantime, during my lunch break. So I do like a working lunch where I'll eat 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then I'll just crack on 40 minutes of editing or whatever needs to be done. Because it's at that point where it's whatever needs to be done. I need to refine my workflows. I need to refine the way I work because I think right now it's still quite erratic and it's not suitable for, basically it's going to tire me out. I think long term it's not going to be good for me. Long term I'm going to burn out. So this weekend I'm going to sit down and try to put together a plan for how I might go about making sure that I still put out a YouTube video a week. I still write an article. I put out an article a week and still produce a podcast a week. The podcast has been interesting. I did do one with my dad and it's pending, but the audio was unsalvageable. And that really sucked because it was something I was really looking forward to. And I just didn't know why I didn't decide to double check the audio cables. But I learned a lesson. The one person it shouldn't have gone wrong with, it decided to go wrong with, and it's my fault. And it's not like 2.5 or 2 hour conversation went to waste. It's just that I wanted to share that and I can't because it's just not right. It's not, it didn't feel right either. It felt forced. And I've never been in a position like that where it's felt forced. But I didn't think it would happen with my dad. I thought it would happen with a stranger, for instance. But I feel that I've got a job as a host to make sure that I'm telling their story in the best way. I'm helping them tell their story in the best way. And sometimes I feel that when you jump on a podcast and you're doing a podcast, it's very difficult to, because ultimately it's just a conversation, isn't it? That's all it is at the end of the day. So talking to them too much beforehand can sort of ruin the element of what you're going to talk about and the things you are going to talk about because you want it to be as natural as possible. I really do this. My mouth is really dry today. You really want it to flow. You want it to sound real. You want it to sound real and not raw, but not polished, but like you're talking to a good friend and you want to be someone that's on the wall there and listening to that in a way that you are somewhat in the conversation, but you're kind of stepped out slightly. So I find myself thinking about how I can get better at dealing with my parents coming on the podcast and how to help them tell their stories in the best way because they've got so much information, so much knowledge, so many experiences in their heads that they don't get to share and will ultimately die with them when they die. Or so why not extract that, put them on a podcast, and let it sit there for eternity? Because that's an awesome thing to have. So I'm looking forward to getting my mom and my dad on the podcast because I think it would be interesting to dive into conversation with them and also argue with them on the podcast because we don't always get along. We don't agree on everything. We have different views on things. So their opinion of me and how I've grown as a person would be quite interesting to hear. Hmm. Oh, yeah. Along with my new job, I applied for another role. It was a ghostwriter role for a YouTuber. And this is sort of like what is in essence my dream role. It would in essence be me doing the 9 to 5 of the creator and then going home and doing my creating. And I got through to the, oh, excuse me. You can hear the tiredness in my voice. I got through to the second round, not thinking that I'd make it into the second round. I thought that, I'd be wiped out in the first, but somehow I made it into the second. And I had to write a article. I had to put together a tweet thread and an Instagram thread for this individual's content. And then I was waiting for about almost a week for the response. And it came in yesterday at around 8 o'clock. I picked up my phone and I've been checking it all week because I wasn't sure if it had gone to my junk mail or not. And when I opened the email, when I opened it, I saw the name and I saw the message. Hi, we're sorry. I didn't feel a thing. And this role was what had kept me going for the past week whilst I've been in this new job of mine. So I'd started a new job and I'd applied to a new role at the same time. They just coincided, and I was going to have to make a decision on if I did get it would I quit, hand in my notice, and take up this new role, or do I just continue with the new role and try and do the other one as well? But I didn't feel anything. I didn't have any sadness. I didn't feel down. I didn't feel, oh shit, woe is me. I felt nothing. I looked at it. I sent a screenshot to my friends. I sent a screenshot to my parents, my family. And that was that. I learned a lot in the process. How the a little bit of the background of how to make YouTube a business and how to think about the distribution of content, because that's what's important here. Making content, creating, documenting things that people are interested in and people find value in, but also stuff that is going to allow you to monetize it. And if not, what is the business plan for it? So I found myself thinking, well, I've learned a bit. I've learned a lot through that process. Is this giving me the motivation now to, or giving me the opportunity now to really just concentrate on my work, concentrate on doing the 9 to 5 job that I have, and then finding a way to build my creative brand while I'm documenting my life? It is, there was a lot riding on it mentally for me, I thought, but in reality, there wasn't. I don't know what happened. I really, really wanted the role. It wasn't that I didn't want it. I really wanted it. I wanted to learn from this individual. I wanted to learn about the insides of what it's like to turn YouTube or making content into a business at a deeper level. But obviously, I haven't got that opportunity now. I'm going to have to do it the old fashioned way and do it yourself. But I thought I'd feel more and I didn't. I thought I'd have my stomach going upside down, left, right, and center, but I didn't. I just sat there and I looked at my phone and I just kept on video editing. It was really, really odd. And it's not that I didn't process it. I process it. I have processed it. I have processed it. I'm not going to be able to work for this individual. I have processed it. But no buts. It's it's sad that I don't get that opportunity. But there's a phrase in society of we move. And we do move. You pick yourself up, you dust yourself off, and you find the next silver lining. And you find the next goal to hit. And you apply to the next job. So I'm going to keep looking and I'm going to keep concentrating on myself. And I'm going to I'm not going to half ass this job. I'm going to do the best I can, find a way to mentally automate it. Mentally automate it, not physically automate it, but mentally automate it so that I can start thinking about my content and the creations that I want to produce while I'm giving my other work 100%. This 9 to 5 creator life ain't easy. Tell you that much. It is not easy. I feel like I'm chasing my own tail, and I did the math. And if I produce 3 videos a week with scripting, scripting, shot, scripting, shot writing, shot listing, and filming in 1 week, and then it takes me a week or just under a week to film the next three. Sorry, 2 weeks to film the next three. Then I actually am chasing my own tail. I don't end up backlogging any content, backlogging anything at all. So this is why this job is perfect, because I need to speed up and I have to speed up now. It's not a choice of, oh yeah, sure, let's get better. I'm thrown in at the deep end and I've just got to do it. I never thought I'd be in this position. I thought that my time in India had got me to a point where this was going to be easy. In fact, it isn't. I thought India was practice. I thought the 3 months at home after India were practice. I was wrong. This is practice. And I'm pretty sure when I get out of this role, whatever happens next will be practice for the next thing. So I'm trying to ground myself right now, and it's taking some time. But I will find a way, because I'm not going to not fulfill the potential that I want for myself. I am going to do the best that I possibly can. I am gonna try and be the best version of myself. Because if I can't do that, then what's the point, right? For me at least. I try and I strive to be the best version of myself every day. It doesn't always work out. It doesn't always. Uh, I think there's a phrase in pool, run of the balls. Sometimes you get lucky and you do find yourself having a great day and you find yourself being the best version of yourself that day. And some days you don't. Some days you really don't. You just don't feel right. I've had days like that this week. I've also had good days. Like today, for instance, it was a dull day. But overall, I was doing the job to the best of my ability. I was learning something new. I came home. I had a good conversation with two of my friends, a good conversation with my family. I was able to connect with them on a different level, on the levels that I want to. So we can always get the small wins in, yeah, to reach our bigger goals. At least I can. At least that's what I'm trying to do. I'm still figuring this all out. Who knows if where I'll be in a year's time? Who knows where I'll be in 30 days' time? But that's just the beauty of life. You learn as you go along. You just can't take each opportunity. You can't take each moment for granted. You just got to take each opportunity. And you can't take each opportunity either. Sometimes you have to pick and choose, and no decision is the wrong decision. No decision is the right decision. The decision you choose is the one that's right for you in that moment, because it's the one that you chose, the one that we chose. I genuinely forgot what it was like to do a one person podcast. It's surprisingly difficult. But once you get used to the mic and once you get flowing, it is a great fun. I am looking to start interviewing over Zoom if the lockdown doesn't end. It's one of my hesitations though. I particularly don't want to, because I feel that as a host, my job is best done, and I get the most out of sitting down with a person in person rather than on a call. And I want to have the best possible experience for the listener. So what I am going to try and do is find a way post lockdown to backlog some content as I did over Christmas, so that we can sit down with plenty of people and hear about their lives, hear about their experiences. I'm sure right now it's very easy to do my parents, and it's very easy to do the people that are close to me. But because I want this thing to grow, because I really want this to impact people's lives, I want it to be, I would like it to be a place that people were able to listen to and think, wow, this is amazing. I do know that I need to reach out to other people, and I have done. I do have a backlog of a list of people that are willing to come on the podcast. I'm not sure if everyone is suited to be on the podcast, but I reached out because like I said, we've all got experiences. The podcast, in a way, for me, is my service to society. That's how I view it. It's me giving back. I don't know if that's just because of the way I framed it, or if it's a false reality that I'm feeding myself. Kind of like sipping on my own Kool-Aid. I don't know. Hopefully, someone can tell me. the, the joy that I get in doing it, though, with others is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. There is nothing in the world that comes close. I have mentioned this before. I like to go to a shisha lounge, and I don't like to go for the smoke. I actually like to go because I get to spend time and I have to have interesting conversations with people. I basically take that everywhere I go with me now because of the podcasting. I'm able to have interesting conversations with people. I'm able to dive into the stuff that they find interesting, that they want to talk about. And, I practice this being more interested than interesting. So it's me constantly asking questions, constantly trying to understand their psyche, their experiences, their emotions, thoughts, feelings. And I'm in a good place right now. Mentally, I'm in a good place. On Monday, as I said, sucked. But you got to pick yourself up. You got to dust yourself off and you got to keep moving, keep plodding along. Take a break when you need to take a break, recharge when you need to recharge, and continue on our journey. I've also been getting into Twitter some more. Twitter's an interesting space. I haven't completely figured it out yet, but I am enjoying tweeting. Something that I thought I'd never do. I am enjoying it thoroughly. The whole idea that I can just put all my thoughts onto like a platform and then people can resonate with them is amazing. I don't go wild on there. I kind of stick to one tweet a day right now. Primarily because I don't want to go insane with it. Because I understand that there are certain implications with jobs and stuff like that that it can affect. So for the time being, I stick to one a day and suss it out. But slowly, I like to streamline it into the things that I want. So I don't really follow my friends on there. I sort of stick to my own niche and what I find most interesting. And in this case, it's like personal finance, tech, self development. Um, how to be, in a way, I guess it's how to become a better version of yourself, which is in line with what I'm trying to do. So I follow a variety of people, psychologists. There's some big names in there, some big tech names in there. Um, there's some old stoic kind of accounts that post stoic tweets. It's a thing. But yeah, it's a new landscape for me, and I'm trying to navigate it. Trying to understand all these social medias is quite hard because, ultimately they're created to, I guess, connect people, but at the same time, you also know now that people run whole businesses off of these platforms, and you find you don't want to get lost in, I'm just in it for the money, but at the same time, you do want to have fun while you're doing it, and finding that balance between it all is important. At least for me, it is because if it just becomes money chasing, then why the hell am I doing it? If I have fun along the way, and I know and I consciously have fun, then that's important for me. It's really important. Because if I don't, then I don't want to do it. I'd rather just sit back and enjoy life for the way it is for the time being. This podcast has been thoroughly enjoyable. I'm sorry it's a short one. It's a little bit impromptu, but I feel that this could really turn into something in the future. And like I said, going back to the roots of where the podcast started, it is real talk. It is me it started as me expressing my thoughts and feelings. So, to all of those people that have got to the end of the podcast, thanks. I'll make sure to find a way to make it more structured and maybe have topics to discuss with myself and dive into my thoughts and feelings on those topics. And sometimes it might not be, but this was a starting point for the time being. Hopefully, you enjoyed it. And I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.